Hi, I'm Nick Palmisciano, and this is the Bad News Network. This week's news is once again dominated by President Trump, and I have to tell you, it's a dumpster fire that was thrown into a larger dumpster that is also on fire. The president agreed to a one-on-one summit with Vladimir Putin, former KGB operative, most likely richest man in the world, holder of power in Russia for 20 consecutive years, serial murderer of his enemies, and judo black belt, and expected to come on top. He did not. The president delivered a speech that essentially blew off the findings of both the CIA and the FBI and lent credence to Putin's contention that he had nothing to do with election meddling. That speech drew instant criticism from Democrats and Republicans alike, so much so that in a rare instance, President Trump actually backpedaled and held an emergency summit at Congress where he clarified his statements. The moment was reminiscent of President Clinton's question about what the word is. To make matters worse, the White House let it be known that President Trump was considering Vladimir Putin's request to question Michael McFaul, the former ambassador to Russia. This led to an almost immediate 98-0 unanimous rebuke from the Senate, essentially saying, Americans do not give up other Americans to dictators. While we're at it, why don't we just let Assad ask the Syrian revolutionaries a couple questions? You know, just to see what's up. Everyone knows that the Russians attempted to meddle with the elections at this point. But what most people don't realize, even though it's been reported, even by liberal sites like Mother Jones, is that the Russians meddled with so much more than that. One of the largest Black Lives Matter accounts was actually run entirely by Russians. In fact, when you look across the entire list of accounts that were actually run by Russians, it really had less to do with left and right and a whole lot more to do with finding the extreme positions and boosting the signal on those extreme positions as much as possible to create an incendiary area where Americans started hating each other. The Russian goal isn't President Trump. The Russian goal isn't Michael McFaul. The Russians don't have any particular designs on anything that we do here. What they want is for us to argue and be weak. The goal is division. The goal is an America that doesn't keep its eye on the ball. The goal is an America that has less and less influence in Europe, in the Middle East, in Asia. The goal is for America to become an also-ran and for Vladimir Putin to gain more power across the globe. We cannot possibly continue to be this stupid. Look at other Americans as people. I live in Chapel Hill, North Carolina. It is the most hippie place you're ever going to find outside of California. I am a conservative in a sea of liberals. I trained jiu-jitsu at a place that when President Trump was elected, one of the other conservatives in the room shouted out, "Man, you just swept me the way Trump swept the Midwest," and there were actual tears in the room. And you know what? I love those violent, bleeding heart hippies because they're great Americans and great people. We are more the same than we are different, and we absolutely have to be better. In more The World is on Fire news, Mark Duplass, a popular liberal pundit, recommended to his followers that people follow Ben Shapiro as a means of understanding a conservative point of view, stating that he's met him before and he's actually a very nice guy. Mark then got hammered with insults, attacks, and threats of violence from the fascist liberal horde that decided he had broken the cardinal rule of being nice to someone who disagrees with him. He has since put out a statement apologizing to everyone he offended with his niceness. Moving along to less serious news. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez showed in an interview this week that she has no idea about foreign policy, fiscal policy, and reminded us that America wasn't always capitalist and that one day soon it will not be capitalist again. I too look forward to a time where there's no groceries in the stores, there are no jobs available, our money is worthless, and people are being murdered in the streets. Go socialism. In World Cup news, France won, something they haven't been able to do without US help since 1945. In sandwich news, I'm super tired of going to places like Chipotle and the sandwich maker puts all of the guac in one spot, so I only have a momentary magical moment of guac. You have one job. Come on! Tom Brady was attacked this week after pictures of him shirtless on the beach surfaced, and he looks like he has a regular body. To make matters worse, he cut himself on his 5 Super Bowl rings while wiping his brow after making out with his supermodel wife on the beach and counting all his money. And finally, 5 cops were fired this week for making the OK symbol while playing the Made You Look game, because people have claimed that that is now a symbol for white supremacists. Okay! And with that, I'm Nick Palmisciano, and this is the Bad News Network. our news is at least as bad as the news you get everywhere else.